Yo, what's good? Lad again. Olberic is joined the fray tomorrow, along with Ophelia. He is a warrior and his influence is of power. Using swords, he's able to deal massive damage while breaking enemies with his polearm skills, along with using his lightning skills to debuff and paralyze enemies. He can also act as a tank with his passives that allows him to cover for an ally, all while boasting the highest defense in all the current 5-star sword users. Before we take a look at his kit, let's talk about his voice actor, Katsuyuki Konishi. I'm not too familiar with his work, but he did voice Tengen Uzui from Demon Slayer, which I watched, and he sounded pretty cool. Let me know if you're a big fan of his work. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out Olberic's abilities. We're going to highlight his most notable skills, starting from damage skills. He has a one-hit sword attack that has a potency of 290. He has a 3 to 5 hit polearm attack that randomly targets enemies. He also has an AoE one-hit lightning attack that does 10% lightning resist down. He has a one-hit single target lightning attack that does 5% lightning resist down and can cause a moderate chance for paralysis for 2 turns. Moving on to his support skills, he has an ability that allows him to boost up his defense by 20% for 3 turns. And finally, he has something called the Knight's Resolve. It reduces damage for himself for 20% and at max boost it covers one ally for 1 turn, but you also need the passive unlocked for that to happen. Onto his passives, he has a self-sword damage up 30%, that's pretty insane. Previously stated, Knight's Resolve at max PP enables cover one ally, that's his other passive, and he gets a 20% in wind resistance and 10 in lightning. For his ultimate, it's the True Unbending Blade, and it does physical sword damage, single target, of a whopping 500 potency, so you know it's gonna hit pretty hard. Now let's go ahead and compare. Comparing him to Fior, Lionel, Kurin, Idia, and Eliza. Right off the bat, you can see that he has the highest stat in attack and physical defense. That should go without saying. But just like the OG Octopath, he suffers pretty heavily in the speed stat, which I feel is probably one of the most important stat in any RPG game. At this rate, Fior is pretty much dancing around him with only 235 speed. He is the slowest among the 5-star users. Other than stats, Olberic is the only 5-star user that also does not have access to a multi-hitting sword attack. Part of a great character is one that has a multi-hitting attack and also has access to a nuke attack. So the main question, should you pull? He's gonna come out in a paid banner along with Ophelia. Good old Square Enix has to put in a mediocre character next to a great character to get you in a 50-50 situation. To those who are free to play, I would not chase after Olberic if you already have any of the other 5-star users. He hits hard, but he kind of reminds me of Curtius, a strong one-hit nuker with funny shield breaking capabilities. In this instance, being sword. His free ruby banner first up is probably going to be half cost. If anything, you could do a single 10 times pull and pray darn Jesus. But he's definitely not going to change your team like Ophelia is. He's going to be added on to the permanent pool later on, so if you don't manage to get him, maybe one day he'll come home. Again, he's a very strong one-hit nuker, but lacks multi-hits, making him mediocre. Onto longevity. He's decent. I'm still gonna rock along with my Fior, as I like her speed and her ability for a 3-hit attack and 1-hit sword nuker. Olberic's longevity is not too great. There will be other upcoming sword users that will be much more efficient. Okay, let's go ahead and go over everything. Character design, he's an OG, 5 out of 5. Voice actor, 4 out of 5. Katsuyuki Konishi, I'm not too familiar with his work, but he sounds pretty cool. Abilities, 3.5 out of 5. He does not have any multi-hitting attacks for sword, and I feel like that's gonna hurt him in the long run. Longevity, 3 out of 5. He's gonna get easily outclassed in the future. Time limited? No. So that's a good thing. 5 out of 5. Overall impression, he's decent. 3.5 out of 5. He's nice to have, but not necessary. Let me know in the comments below if you're planning to pull for him. If anything, I might just do a couple pulls in his banner. And to anybody who's doing the paid banner tomorrow, I wish that you all get Ophelia. Well anyways, take care of yourselves. Lad out.